The screen sharing is still disabled.
Ma, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I said the screen sharing is still disabled.
Okay, I'm looking for a way to enable the screen sharing.
If it's easier for you to make me a host, then do that so that I can enable it.
Okay, okay. I've done that.
Okay, thank you. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
No, it's still loading. Yes, yes, we can see your screen now. We can see your screen.
Okay, so today we want to talk about critical media literacy. Critical media literacy, that's what we're going to be talking about. And my name is Awolanye Banigo. Awolanye Banigo, that's my name. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, you know, why am I qualified to talk about critical media literacy with you guys? So that's what I'm going to do next. So I'm an English language teacher. I've been teaching English language for about 8 to 9 years now. I've been teaching English language since 2013. I'm also the curator of the Port Harcourt Book Club. Sorry, no, not that. Okay, I'm also the curator of the Port Harcourt Book Club, and my educational background, I have a BSc from the Rivers State University of Science and Technology. When I went there, that's how we used to call it. But now you people call it the Rivers State University. I also have a certificate from the University of Arkansas for teaching English as a foreign language. I'm a Fulbright scholar. I'm a Fulbright Teacher Excellence and Achievement Fellow. I'm currently doing a master's in K-12 teacher education. So that is that about me. Did we get that?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. All right. So we want to talk about critical media literacy. So the first thing I want to ask us is, what word comes to your mind, or what image comes to your mind when you hear the word media? What do you think of? When you hear the word media, what comes to your mind?
Ma, for me, when I hear the word media, what comes to mind are the two: the television, the radio, the magazines, and all whatnot. The social media. That was what comes to my mind when I hear the word media.
Okay. Does any other person want to tell us what comes to their mind when they hear the word media? What comes to your mind when you hear the word media? Olisa, what comes to your mind when you hear the word media? You're on mute.
Yeah, okay. When I hear the word media, I feel it's just about passing information to the masses. That's what comes to my mind. Passing information to the masses, be it entertainment, be it news, just passing relevant information to the masses.
Okay, Mike, welcome. What comes to your mind when you hear the word media? Media, when you hear media, what comes to your mind? Are we there? Yeah.
Now, what comes to my mind is social media, passing of information. maybe social media or through other means.
All right. Okay, I think so. Adobe said what comes to her mind is what we would call traditional media, that is television, newspaper, magazine, radio, and Michael, Olisa said what comes to his mind is information transmission, and Michael says social media. So all of those are actually media. I'd like to see your faces. Your videos are off. Please, can I see your faces? Thank you very much. I want your videos on, please. I want to be sure that we are all here, so that I'm not talking to myself. Okay, so when we talk about media, that is what comes to our mind, really. But what type of media do we really use? You know, so when we talk about media, we say that TV is media, radio is media. Then we have social media. We have TikTok, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, Instagram, you know. So when we talk about what type of media do you prefer, what type of media do you consume? When you wake up in the morning and you want to get news, where do you go to? Do you go to Facebook? Do you go to Twitter? Do you go to Instagram? Where do you go to when you want to get news? I'd like a few people to give us answers. It's going to be interactive, okay? It's not just one person talking. We're going to be talking together. I'll talk, you talk, so that we can get a good flow of the lesson. All right. So, what type of media do you consume? Can I hear a few people say that? Tell me.
Okay, Ma, for me, the first place I go to confirm a news is the internet.
Yes, which of the internet? Which one do you use? Which is your
media,
preferred?
Facebook.
Which is your preferred one? Is it Instagram? Is it Facebook? Okay, Instagram. So Instagram. Adobe goes to Instagram. Yes. Michael, where do you go to?
I go to Twitter, ma.
You go to Twitter. Wisdom, yes, where do you go to?
I go to Twitter, ma.
Go to Twitter. Mike, where do you go to? Mike, you're mute.
Can you hear me, ma?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I go to Twitter and Instagram.
You go to Twitter and Instagram. Yes. Asha, where do you go to? Asher? Okay, I don't think Asha can hear me. So I go to Instagram too. So my favorite place to go to is Instablog, right? I like all the juicy gossip on Instablog. So that's where I go to. So that is what we consume, right? So what do you use when you want to send a message? Where do you go to first? Which one do you use? Which one do you produce? Where do you go to? Thank God. Let's hear where you go to. When you think of posting something on social media, which is your first place that you go to? Thank God. I can't hear you if you're trying to speak. Hello? Hello? Thank God. I can't hear you. You're breaking. Okay. Can someone else tell us where they go to? I can't hear Mike. I'm sorry, not Mike. Thank God. Any other person wants to tell us their first port of call when they want to send a message?
Okay, Ma, for me, it's WhatsApp. When I want to send a message across to someone, I use WhatsApp.
Okay, who else? Does any other person want to tell us where they go to?
For me, it's Twitter.
Twitter, is that's the first one you use too? Okay,
Yes,
so for
ma'am.
me, it's WhatsApp too. I update my status. No, that's basically the first thing I do. I want to say something on my status, maybe make a motivational post, since we are all motivational speakers, or I want to just basically say that I'm awake or something. So I go to WhatsApp. So the next question I wanted to ask is, how many hours do you spend on social media? How many hours do you spend on social media? Anybody? Can you give us a round figure of how many hours you spend? Okay, Olisa, I see your hand. How many hours do you spend?
Yes, approximately, if I'm to give an approximate value, I spend about 12, 13 hours on social media.
Fantastic.
Not just, it's not like pressing and chatting or like, because I basically post what sports, the happiness in sports on my WhatsApp. So sports is always on, even in the midnight, every time anything can happen, especially during the transfer window period. During that period, I can spend up to 15 hours because anything can happen at any moment. So yes, basically Twitter and WhatsApp, basically like 15 hours or 13 hours.
Okay, any other person wants to give us how many hours they spend on social media? Any other person? I can't see your hand. I think that for some reason, I don't know what I did. I can only see one person at a time on my screen. So if you want to contribute, can you just speak into your mic? Any other person? Joshua Ejiro, how many hours do you spend on social media? Can we talk? Can we all talk? I don't like when people are silent. It's not nice. Yes, Joshua. Joshua, I can't hear you. So I'll take Adobe's hand is raised. Adobe, how many hours do you spend?
Okay. Oh wow. Okay, I'm always online, only when I'm not sleeping. So I would say if I sleep for 5, 6 hours, the main hours I'm always online.
Okay, Joshua, please can you turn off your mic? We can't hear you clearly. There's static in coming from your end, and it's interfering. Okay, so Adobe, you spend about 6, 7 hours. Is that what you said? Hello?
No, Ma, I said I'm always online. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes?
Okay.
So you're always online. You can't give a duration, but you're always online. Is that what you're saying?
Yo, we can't hear you.
Hello? Am I alone? Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, nod.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, Ma. I can hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you. We can
But
hear
if
you.
you're not responding, then I don't know that you can hear me. If I ask a question and nobody says anything, then I'm not sure that people can hear me. Okay, let's move on. Olisa gave us a rough estimate of about 15 hours. And I think that if we're being honest, that is about how much time most of us spend on the internet using digital media. We spend so much time When we wake up, we go straight to our phones. We're looking at Twitter, we're looking at Instagram, we're looking at TikTok. You know, we're going on Facebook and we're getting gist and stories from all of these places that we go to. And what happens? What happens is that we get saturated with so much information, so many information, like in all of these places, like you're looking on WhatsApp, you're seeing, oh, the federal government is sharing 50,000 naira to everybody that is not working. You go to Facebook, you see, oh, Tinubu has just, yesterday, Tinubu peed on himself. You go to this place, you see information everywhere. Information everywhere. So the problem is that we are saturated with so much information. There is news everywhere. But how do we know which news is correct and which news is not correct? How do we protect ourselves? Now, when we had traditional media, if any of you studied media and communications, you know that there's something that we call gatekeeping in the traditional media, where you have editors ensuring that the information that gets out to the public is verified. Am I right? Does anybody have an idea? Anybody has an idea about what I'm saying?
Yes, ma, you're correct.
Okay, thank you. So, so we have editors ensuring that before a news item gets out, it is checked to ensure that we don't get fake news. But in today's world, where everybody is a content creator, everybody is a journalist, everybody is a blogger, everybody produces content, how do we know which news is correct and which news is fake? That is why digital literacy is very, very important. That is why critical media literacy is very, very important, because it helps us to filter the information that we get, which is correct, which is not correct. That is what critical media literacy is all about. Okay, so can someone just read out what is on the screen? Can someone read out what is on the screen to us? Anyone wants to read out what is on the screen?
It says media literacy encompasses critical media content.
Sorry?
It says critical media literacy encompasses the practices that allows individuals to access, critically evaluate, and verify media content.
Exactly. So critical media literacy is about verifying the source of the information, evaluating to see if the information is correct in its entirety, or if some parts of it are correct and other parts are not correct, and knowing, cross-checking. So you find an information from one source. Is this source a good source of information? Is this source, are they objective, or is it a source that, you know, they favor one part? Let's talk about, say, PDP and APC, for instance. Is this a PDP news outlet, or is this an APC news outlet? Can I trust the news coming from this source? Are you following? So that is what critical media literacy is about. It's about evaluating information that you get to know if the information is genuine, if it is objective, and how you can then use it. That's what critical media literacy is about. So I'll look at some items that are really key in critical media literacy. Can someone read what is on the board or on the screen?
How do you critically evaluate media? by ensuring information
Sorry,
is credible.
can you speak up a little bit, Wisdom?
How do you critically evaluate media? By ensuring information is credible, accurate, and objective.
Very good. How do you evaluate? How do you critically evaluate the media? How do you critically evaluate the information that is coming? First, by ensuring that the information is credible. When you talk about credibility, what are you talking about? You're talking about, is it true? Is it true? First, is it true? This thing that you're saying, is it true? The second thing is, okay, it is true. Is it accurate? Now, there's a difference between something being true and something being accurate. So for instance, you can say that there is an ongoing problem with Garnacho and the Argentine team, right? This is accurate. This is true. There's an ongoing, a little scuffle. It's not really a big problem. It is true. But what is the accurate information? What exactly has happened? What are the details? This is looking for accuracy, trying to get the accurate information. And then the next thing is it objective? When we say that, is it objective? What we're looking at is balance, all right? So for instance, you hear things like, you're telling the story from your side of the story. You're telling the story, and of course, when you're telling a story, or if we're having a conversation and something happens, for instance, or we had a fight, I had a fight with Olisa, right? And McDonald is asking me what happened. Of course, I'm going to tell the story from my side, how it's going to favor me. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, you're right.
So am I being objective at that point? It's very difficult to be objective. So you have to find out the source that is giving the information. Is it an objective source? Is it a source that we can trust, that the source is balanced? Is it a source that is giving the information as it is, or is it a source that is diluting the information to favor a group of people? So those are the things you look out for. You look out for credibility, accuracy, and objectivity. You look out for credibility, accuracy, and objectivity. Does anybody have anything to add at this point? You want to add anything? Is there anybody that wants to add anything to the conversation so far? Remember, I said we're all learning, all right? Is there anything that you think that we've missed out so far, or anything that you think, is a crucial point at this point that you'd like to make? Anyone? Adobe? Is Adobe still there? Michael?
Yes, ma'am, not from my end, ma'am.
Okay, McDonald, is there a point you'd like to chip in? Is there something you'd like to quickly chip in what we've said so far?
Sorry, I'm having a very bad network over here. So network is just having a very bad network over here.
But you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear people. I can hear people right now.
Because I can also hear you clearly. So it means that you could actually chip in something if you want to.
It's okay. It's okay.
All right.
It's okay.
All right. Wisdom, is there something you'd like to add?
No, ma'am, there's nothing I'd like to add.
Okay, not at the moment. Mike, Itari, anyone?
From my end, just want to add that the information should be critically verified before dissemination to the public.
Interesting. Yes. Critically verified, right? Before dissemination to the public. That's very interesting. So we've not even talked about disseminating yet. We're talking about you, the one that you consume. All right. So that's where we are first. We're talking about how do you use the media, and then we're going to talk about how do you create. because if you're able to critically analyze information, verify information, then the likelihood that you give out correct information, verifiable information, is also very strong. Okay, so let's move on. And I want to talk about critical media literacy skills. Critical media, media. I said Lydia. Who is Lydia? Do we have any Lydia in the house? None?
None,
Okay.
ma.
Okay, maybe someone, we're about to have a new classmate, Lydia maybe, because that's just Rema. Okay, so critical media literacy skills. The first one is authenticate the primary source. Authenticate the primary source. When we talk about the primary source of something, the primary source is the first point that an information comes from. The first point that an information comes from. For those of us who are on Twitter, who said we like to go on Twitter, about 3 days ago, there was a news on Twitter that, oh, Rihanna and A$AP Rocky had broken up because he cheated on her with her shoe designer. Did anybody see that information?
Yes, ma.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
so
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
now, when you see an information like that, the first thing to look out for, to know whether that information is correct or not, is to check the source. Where is this news coming out from? Who said it? That is authenticating the primary source. And then when you check the primary source and you say, oh, see who carried this news, oh, it's a fashion influencer. A fashion influencer, well, he's in the celebrity business. He might know what is really going on, right? So you're not too sure. You're not, well, he has some clout, so it's possible that he knows what is going on. Okay, but who else is saying it? That's the next point. Outside of this person who said it, who else is saying it? So you go to multiple sources. So you've seen it in one area. So the next thing you do is to put that information on Google and try to see the other sources that are talking about it. So you verify, you cross-check. Who else is talking about it outside of the primary source? That's the next thing you do. The first thing is to authenticate the primary source. Where did it come from? The next thing is to check if outside of the primary source, if there are other sources talking about it. All right? The next thing you do when you're looking at the next skill you need to have when you're critically analyzing media content is gauging tone and language. Gauging tone and language. When we talk about gauging tone and language, what are we saying? Now, you have to understand that the media shapes perception. The media can make you believe something that ordinarily you will not believe. The media has a way of creating an image in your mind. That's why in communication, for instance, there's something we say. We say that the media is the message. The media is the message, because the media can create a message and make it so believable that it alters every other thing that you used to know. So when we talk about gauging tone and gauging language, for instance, if you see let me just listen to me now, and I say a group of boys were seen entering into the Transamadi Gardens. That is a media headline. And then another one you see is a gang of hoodlums goes into Transamadi Gardens. Based on these two things that I have said, tell me what image comes to your mind. The first one says a group of boys went into Transamadi Gardens. The second one says a gang of hoodlums went into Transamadi Gardens. Based on these two things that I've said, can I have like 3 people tell me the image that these words created in their mind?
Okay, so Ma, one of the image that is painted in my mind is some thugs or hoodlums that went into the garden to either vandalize the place or to destroy the place.
Okay. And any other person, I'd like you to tell me the image that comes to your mind when you hear group of boys, and then when you hear gang of hoodlums. Yes. Adobe, I see your hand raised. Adobe, I see your hand raised.
If you can hear me, Ma.
Okay. Yes.
If
Sorry,
you
who is
can hear
speaking,
me,
please?
Ma.
I can't see you clearly. I'm not seeing everyone. I don't know what I did to my, so I can't see everyone. So just tell me who is speaking and then you speak. We can't hear you. Who is speaking? Okay, Joshua, can I hear you? Joshua? Can you still see my screen?
Joshua. It's not just
I'm not hearing anyone. Is it my network or no one is speaking?
We can see your screen.
You,
Ma.
Okay, so who is speaking? Who is answering? I said, what image comes to your mind when you hear group of boys and gang of hoodlums? What image comes to your mind? Huh?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Who is speaking, please?
Wisdom,
Okay, wisdom, yes. When you hear group of boys, what image comes to your mind?
boys just paints an image of the normal day activity.
Exactly.
Yeah, when I hear a group of dogs or bandits, just brings impending danger around.
Yeah. Okay, let's just go a step further. When you hear that, when you hear gang of thugs, who can tell me what they are wearing? Joshua, gang of thugs. Just give me an idea of what a gang of thugs will be wearing. One item of clothing, one item, basically. How do you think a gang of thugs?
Armory.
Armory, okay. Yes. Any other person?
Yes. May
Guns.
Go ahead. Okay. They may carry a cutlass, a knife per se, to invade the area where they're going to.
Okay. Any other person, when you hear group of gang of hoodlums, what comes to your mind? Let's just basically even talk about their dressing. How would you, when you hear gang of hoodlums, how would you consider them just by painting an image in your mind? What do you think they are wearing?
Yeah, it depends. For me, it depends on the area. So if I hear gang of hoodlums on CNN in America, or if I hear gang of hoodlums,
no, we are talking about Transamadi in Port Harcourt. I'm assuming
okay,
that we are all in Port Harcourt.
Okay, there will be sagging. Many of them will be sagging. Many of them will be wearing black. Some will tie like bandana or something on their head. Some of them will be on marks, and they'll be like chanting, and they'll make it really noisy. They will know, like, they don't do stealth. So they'll make it really noisy, announce themselves in the area, and do what they want to do.
Okay. Any other person, so that we can round up quickly? We're taking, our time has gone so far, and I'm having so much fun already. Any other person wants to say something quickly?
Yes.
So that we can.
I want to.
Okay, Adobe, sorry. I'm partial to Adobe because she's the only female. Let's hear Adobe. Adobe.
Okay, Ma, when I hear gang of hoodlums, what comes to mind? is cultists, like cultists, area boys. They are there to scatter, to destroy the place, and also it's just cultists that just comes to mind.
Okay, just for a lack of time, I'll just proceed. So you see that just by the words we use, we are capable of painting an image of people. We did not see a picture. We were not shown any picture at all. We just heard words. And from the words we heard, we have already given them armory. We have given them cutlass. We have already put the trouser. We have known that the trousers that they are wearing they are sagging. We already know that some of them were tying bandanas. We already know that some of them were wearing black. So you can see that the power that the media has. The media has a lot of power to create whatever image they want to create. This is why it is very, very important to verify news, to cross-check and check. Because depending on the source of the information, people can use the media to achieve whatever they want to achieve. As human beings, naturally, when we speak, we speak with bias, because we have you've grown up in a particular area, so you believe in a particular religion, you're from a particular culture or tradition, you do things a certain way, you come from a particular background. All of these things, all of these frames of reference affects the way that you handle or address issues. Now, do not forget that the person who is also producing the media content also has his frame of reference that sometimes influences. Also, another thing that influences is who is in charge of the media. If it is a media, if it's a blog, who is paying the blog? If it's okay, or who are the major sponsors? Who are the people advertising in the blog? So in the media, we also have a statement. We say that he who pays the piper dictates the tune. If you're the person who pays, then you can dictate what happens. For instance, in the 2015 election, majority of Nigerians believed that because the traditional media houses were mostly owned by Tinubu, that is why a lot of the information that was coming from that media was against Jonathan, because they did not want him to win. I don't know if that is true. I do not know if it is not true. I'm just giving you an example of he who pays the piper dictates the tune. So you have to be sure. This news that is coming out from this People's Gazette now, this People's Gazette, who owns this People's Gazette? What is the intention? What does this People's Gazette, what do they want to achieve with this information? You don't just swallow content. Because you see something on Twitter, you swallow it. It must be true. If you see something on Instagram, no, it must be true. No. You have to look at it. You have to trace the source of the information. Where is this information coming from? Which other house is carrying it? Which other newspaper is talking about it? And how is that newspaper talking about it?
Ma, I can't hear you or see you anymore. I don't know.
I think we lost her.
Oh, okay. Oh, and it's raining here.
I don't know if you can like check up on her, then check if she's like coming back. I think she'll be back soon.
Okay. So, Olisa,
Yes.
Hello, Lisa.
Yeah.
Please
yeah.
let me go check up on her. Please carry the class along and give us a rundown concerning what did she talk about last? She was talking about
Critical media
authenticating.
literacy skills.
Yes, the skills. Yeah, she was talking about the sources and all. So please carry on. Let me reach out to her. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I think it's even okay afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. The last thing our lecturer was actually talking about was critical media literacy skills. I think the importance of how to verify. So you said is authenticate the primary source. When you see something on Twitter, you see something on the IG, you see something on Facebook, you have to check the source. Who is posting this stuff? Who if you see I don't know who follows on football here, Fabrizio Romano on Twitter posting something, you legit know that this source is actually verifiable, is actually trustworthy. But if you see a person that first of all is not verified on Twitter, and he's posting something, you might not believe it. So next step after authenticating the primary source, if it's actually verified, you have to verify who else is talking about it aside the primary source. So if, let's say, as the former example I used, Fabrizio Romano is talking about something, and Gary Neville also talks about it, Gary Lineker, and many of Sky Sports too, BBC Sports, and they are all talking about the same topic, that is actually true. So gauging the tone and language. Now, the media has a very, throughout this program, we have many lecturers have said it, that the media has a very strong power to actually shape the perception, makes you believe what you won't believe normally. Like there was something that happened recently when there's Cristiano hit the phone of a 14-year-old boy, I think is Mike or so, and he invited them to Old Trafford, and the mom said that she's not coming, that if it was the other way around, that Cristiano would have beat the person. But then somebody now posted on Twitter today.
Hello.
Okay. Hello.
Oh, I don't know what happened though. I just kind of went off. I'm sorry. But are you guys all there? Was I the only person who went off, or the whole system went off?
No, so we are here, ma.
Oh, so it's probably me then. Okay, so someone was saying something when I came in. Don't let me stop you. What were you saying?
I was just giving a rundown of what you have discussed.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll just quickly go to. I hope you guys won't mind us taking an extra 15 minutes, since I stepped out for a bit. Let's just make it up. Except I'm boring you, then I'll stop at exactly 3 o'clock. What do you guys think?
Ma, the floor is yours. The decision is yours, ma. Carry on, ma.
Okay. All right, so we talked about fact checking, and I was trying to say that when we do fact checking, what we're basically... What? Did you say something?
No, I said you should please carry on.
Okay, so when we talk about fact checking, basically what we're talking about is, so for instance, you look at People's Gazette on Twitter, and People's Gazette says 15 people died in the train accidents on Abuja-Kaduna Road, right? You look at Punch newspaper says 25 people died on Abuja-Kaduna Road. You look at Vanguard says 30 people died. Now, what is the accurate fact? What is the correct number? How do you know what the correct number is? That is fact checking. So if you're looking at an information like a train accident, who do you think is likely to have the most correct figure? Who is more likely to which organization, which body is likely to have the most correct figure for something like that? The organization with the most likely correct figure would be NEMA, the National Emergency Management Agency. So if you're trying to find out, oh, I really want to know how many people really and truly lost their lives in that accident, then the best place for you to check would be the NEMA site, the NEMA official site. That's how you fact check. What is the fact? Yes, the story is true that, yes, we all agree that people died on the Abuja-Kaduna road, but how many people actually died? So that is fact checking. The next one is recognizing bias. I've talked about it a couple of times, and it keeps recurring because it's a very important topic. It's a very important point. Recognizing bias. And when we talk about bias, there are two biases. Now, we've talked about the fact that the media, depending on who is paying on the medium, can be biased. Can be biased in the language, can be biased in the kind of images that it shows, it can be biased in a lot of things. But we too can also be biased when we are reading a news item. And that bias that we have is what we call confirmation bias. Now, what is confirmation bias? If, for instance, I am a Christian, I am a born-again Christian, and then they now say that, for instance, I read that a lady was raped 2 nights ago, and the media posts a picture of the lady wearing a really short short, right? Because I'm a Christian and my Christian believes that you should not wear that kind of short thing when you're going out already. The first question I'm asking myself, how can she wear this kind of short thing as she's going out? Do you understand what I'm saying? So that is confirmation bias. How the news that we read reinforces our own beliefs, or how our own beliefs help us to believe news items that we read. That is what we refer to as confirmation bias. All right, so you have to, when you're looking at critical media, when you're critically analyzing media, you have to ensure that you are not just agreeing with something because it reinforces your own beliefs. You have to look at it and ensure that you are agreeing because you have checked all the facts, you've checked all the details, and this is how it truly is. All right. The next thing is curating information. What does it mean to curate? What does it mean to curate an information? Curating information is having looked at several places and looked at how these different places deliver their news. You now make up your mind that, okay, for me, you hear some people say, me, I don't listen to Channels News anymore because Channels News is APC news station. I don't listen to NTA. NTA is federal government news station. If you want to really know what is going on in Nigeria, then go to Arise News. Do you understand what I'm saying? People have been able to say that, okay, although different media institutions have their biases, although different people have their biases, if you go to Arise Media, for instance, you are likely to get a more balanced, credible, and accurate news. That is what it means to curate the information that you get, ensuring that the information that you get is coming from a source that is mostly balanced, accurate, and credible. Do we have any questions so far before I proceed? Can you still see me on two images? I want to know what I'm doing. If I should turn off one, whatever. I think that 2 videos are on for me. Is that the case?
No, it's just one.
Okay. All right. But you can hear me clearly too.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Loud
Okay.
and clear, ma.
Okay. Do we have any questions so far? Any questions or contributions based on what we're saying? Because we use the media a lot, so we all have experiences. Yes.
A question.
Okay.
You said we have 2 types of biases, and you did mention only one, which is the confirmation bias. I'm asking for the other one.
Media bias.
Okay,
the media bias is, so I talked about it a couple of times, which is why I didn't mention it again. I said that media bias has to do with, so who is For instance, I gave the example of the 2015 election, where, for instance, a media house is funded by somebody. And because the media house is funded by somebody, they tend to give the news in such a manner that it favors that person or that person's beliefs. For instance, let's take that the Tribune, the Nigerian Tribune, is a traditional media, is owned by Tinubu, so to speak. Tinubu is an APC member, so to speak. And then when the Tribune is reporting a message that has to do with the PDP, you can tell from the language and the tone that it will be accusatory. It will tell the message in such a way that it places the PDP in an unfavorable light. Are you following? Are we there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is what we refer to as the media bias, the source, the bias that comes from the source of the information. That is what we refer to as media bias. While the bias that comes from we that consume the information is what we refer to as confirmation bias. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any other questions? Any other question?
Yes, ma'am. I also have another one.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Please, I wish to know, how can a source create authentic and credible? How can a source create authenticity and credibility over time? Thank you.
Okay, so when you say that, how can a source create authenticity and credibility over time? It means that that source does its research. For instance, when I was mentioning about the fact checking, I said that where will you get the correct facts if we want to know, for instance, that an accident took place on Abuja Kaduna Road? The place where we'll get the correct facts is from NEMA. If you get any other fact or figure from any other person, maybe somebody was standing on the road and the person had say, oh, I was close to that place, oh, and I heard that 15 people were the people that died. Is that is that authentic? It's not authentic. The verifiable, because NEMA is in charge of accidents and things like that. They are the ones who went to the scene. The most likely one that will be correct is the one that NEMA gives. The most likely figure that will be correct is the one that NEMA gives. So to be able to create credible and authentic news, what you do is that you have to verify your information. You have to research and be sure that your information that you're putting out is coming from authentic sources, original sources, not sources that you're not sure of. That's why I said, I think at some point in the conversation, I mentioned that if you know how to consume media, then you will know how to produce media. Because if you know the things to look out for when you consume media, then you will know the things to do when you want to produce media. Is that understood?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So just before we quickly round off, I want us to do at least 2 activities before we round off. Okay, so look at these topics now. We have these topics. These are headlines, newspaper headlines. Buhari declares 3rd term bid. Greatest of all time. Ganacho declares Messi incompetent. COVID. FG cancels post-COVID arrival test for fully vaccinated travelers. Look at these 3 headlines. What is wrong with these headlines? Let's talk.
Okay.
I'll start.
Okay, yes.
Okay, I'm going to.
Who is speaking?
I'm going to is Olisa. I'm going to talk about the Garnacho one because first of all, I'm a football pundit. I'm a Man United fan,
Let's not
look
look at it from a Garnacho Don't look at it from a fundal.
No. Yes. Okay. Is
Okay.
that the thing is that Garnacho didn't say Messi was incompetent. That's the key word there. He didn't say Messi was incompetent. He just said, I think the post was like something about the GOAT. Yes, he just put the caption and everything. But he didn't make mention of Messi being incompetent. It was actually in the comment section when Sergio Aguero, many of the Argentinians that followed him started like lashing up at him, saying Messi is still alive, Messi, hysteric Messi, all those type of stuff. Especially Aguero. Then he pinned Aguero's tweets, and everybody was like, Ronaldo unfollowed Garnacho when he didn't actually follow Garnacho. So it's just a bias thing going on in the internet.
Okay, so based on what we're talking about, based on the media literacy skills that we just gave, which category do you think that this news headline falls under? What do you think that someone who sees this news headline, what is the most critical skill for someone who has seen a headline like this?
I think is media and recognition bias. I think.
Well, maybe yes, but
okay, for me,
yeah.
I think it's authenticity and primary sources.
Yes, not wrong. Who else? Not wrong. Who else?
Okay, I think it's fact checking.
Who's speaking?
Is always fact checking.
Okay. Who else? Any other person? Okay, you are not wrong. In all the people who spoke are not wrong. You're all correct, because it would have to do with bias. How do you read the message? How are you reading it? Is it confirming something? Is the media that put it out? How did they put it out and all of that? So there is bias. There is also authenticity. The message is not authentic, all right? And if you go to the primary source of the message, you will see that Garnacho did not say that Messi was incompetent. He simply said that Ronaldo is the greatest of all times. That's what he said. He didn't say Messi was incompetent. So the message is not correct. But the most important skill for this would be fact checking, because it is very easy to confuse it. Because did Garnacho say anything about greatest of all time? Yes, he did. And is Garnacho an Argentine? Yes, he is. So if Garnacho is an Argentine and he now says that Ronaldo is the greatest of all time, is he not by extension saying that Messi is incompetent? Do you understand what I'm saying? So checking the facts and going to the primary source and seeing, for instance, when you go to, you look at Garnacho now, you see that he took a picture with Messi and he was so excited and he says, oh, you know, dreams come true. That is to say that this person appreciates, so he couldn't have said this. You will easily differentiate facts from fiction. You easily say what is true and what is not true. Someone saying something? Is someone saying something? Okay, let's look at the next one. We said that Buhari declares third term bid. Who wants to talk about that? Who wants to talk about, our time is up. We are at 3 o'clock on the dot. So we have just extra 15 minutes and I have 2 more slides. So can we be a little bit fast?
Okay, let me react on this.
Yeah.
I think I will use 2 critical tools for this. Is it possible?
Of course.
Okay. One is authenticity and fact checking. These are 2.
Exactly. Yeah. Because you need to check, where did this news come out from? This news now that we're talking about, Who said it? Is it that somebody just stayed in their house and wrote this thing and we are here killing ourselves? So you have to check, what is the primary source of this information? Is any other person talking about it, or is just one person that is talking about it? So you need to check. Then, so is it true? Is it true? Who answered the question? Mike, is that you?
It is Itari Tango.
Okay, Itari. So is,
Yes.
is it true? Is it something that we should be worried about, Itari? Should we be worried about this headline?
Yes, yes. Because
is it true?
No.
Okay. So it's not true. You see how I got really scared because I was going to get worried. Okay. So the third one. Who wants to react to the third one? Who wants to react to the third headline?
Please, can you repeat the third headline?
Oh, okay. I forgot that I'm not
Ma,
sharing.
please repeat the
Okay.
headline.
COVID. FG cancels post-COVID arrival test for fully vaccinated travelers. COVID. FG cancels post-COVID arrival test for fully vaccinated travelers. I'll give you 2 seconds. You can look, you can see if it is a verifiable information. You can check on Google. Let's know. Let's see how you use the media. So two minutes. Let's use 2 minutes to see if it's verifiable or not. Meanwhile, Adobe, I sent you a form. I'd like for you to share the form to everyone. It's a survey. It's at the end of the class. I'd like to get the response on that, please. Thank you. I've just sent it to you, so you can send it to everybody, and we will get this survey before the end of the class.
Okay, ma'am. I'll take a step.
Okay. So meanwhile, who wants to tell us? Anybody? Is anybody ready to tell us if that information is correct?
Please, can you repeat the piece of information? I just checked down to confirm.
FD cancels post-COVID arrival tests for fully vaccinated travelers.
Okay, it's a correct piece of information.
Okay, and why do you say it's correct, Wisdom?
Because it's on the NCDC website, so it's verified.
Very good. Thank you very much. And that is what we're talking about. We want you to be able to verify information. So now I'm going to give us another exercise. And this exercise, oh my God, how do I do this? Oh no, because I wanted to share my screen and show you on my screen. Can you give me a second to come on my laptop, and then so that I can share my screen and we can see it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. But it's still recording.
Ma, when you reconnect with your laptop, let me know so I can make you the host.
Okay. What my Zoom is still actually recording. I wonder what it is recording if it's not showing. It's still recording on my laptop. I wonder what it's recording actually. So there are 2 exercises I want us to do just to be sure that we have a good grasp of what we're talking about. All right, I think I'm here.
Recording in progress.
Oh my God, sorry. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh my God. No. This is... Sorry, I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Is there still an echo?
No, we can
I
hear
hear
you
you,
clearly,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Okay, so let me try to share my screen now and see how that works. Okay, can you make me the host now?
I've done that, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. The laptop is so slow and it's not coming on. It keeps saying that I think you made the wrong one the host. The one you're supposed to make the host is AWOLI.
Okay, ma'am, let me do that.
I'm sorry, guys. Sorry for taking so much of your time.
I've done that, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We can see your screen.
Okay, look at these images. I have some images on the screen. If you look at one side of the screen, it says the Washington Post. If you look at the other side of the screen, it says Fox News. All right. And then you see images and you see words. I just want us to quickly, in like 2 minutes, in another 2 minutes, because I don't want us to exceed 15 minutes, in another 2 or 3 minutes, tell me what you identify. Just write it down so that we will quickly take it, we'll talk about it quickly. In another 2 minutes, just look at the images and put down the things that you notice from the images. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, Wisdom. Go. Yes. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. They took my lights. Yes.
Okay, so I don't understand exactly what you want us to do now. So
I said, tell me what you, so it's obviously the same news item. If you're looking at it, you can tell that it's the same news story. So what we're trying to recognize media bias. What can you tell from these two stories?
okay, on one, the headline seems to make it look like the situation is spiraling out of control. So it made it look like it's out of control, while one reported the story like a normal story that's actually in control, but just a little bit difficult.
Okay. What else?
Hello, ma.
Yes, Itari.
Okay. This is recognizing media bias as is the critical media literacy skill for this. And I think from here, I think the Republicans are the source of media information. So I think they are biased about the border control. So that is my own take on it.
Yes.
Excuse me, ma.
Hello, Ma, can you hear us? We can't see you anymore or hear you
Yes.
anymore.
Okay,
Okay,
yes, ma.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, ma.
I serious. I can see you. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma, but it's a little bit.
Ma, I think your network is, having issues. Olisa, can anybody even hear me? Ooh.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh my God, I'm so
Okay.
sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. My network has been completely dodgy. I'm sorry. So yeah. Sorry, just to take us back to what we're talking about. So does anybody want to quickly say something before we move to the next one?
Yes, ma, I wanted to say something.
Yes, Itari, proceed.
It's not Itari, it's Abiasem Olisa.
Okay, Olisa, continue.
Yeah, I wanted to say something on that, the stuff you showed us, the exercise you say we should have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so first one, I noticed the one at the top left it was just talking about a different story. Then the one on the right was saying it was out of control, the situation was out of control. Then the one on the bottom right said fighting for survival. Now that one is very big. There's what they call fighting for survival. Cannibalism. It can include cannibalism. It can
Which
include.
one says fighting for survival?
The one
I'm
at
looking
the
at the
left.
screen. Hold on. Can you see me on two screens? Can you see me on two screens so I can share my screen again?
No,
Can
ma,
you see
no,
me
ma.
on two screens?
No, ma.
Can you see my screen? Which one says fighting for survival?
Yeah, fight to survive. Sorry, fight to survive. The one at the bottom left.
Okay, so you might be looking at it a bit differently, okay, Olisa. So this is what the story says. We have a picture, and then it says the dividing line, the US-Mexico border. President Biden faces a political crisis. Migrants face a fight to survive, all right? And then the second one says, House Homeland Republicans demand transparency from Biden over out of control border crisis. It's the same story. It's not a different story. It's the same story talking about the fact that there are lots of migrants, and it's trying to tell us how they are handling it. But if you look at the story from Fox News makes the news look as if the president is losing control, which is what Wisdom was saying. It makes it look as if we should soon start running because there are lots of immigrants coming into the country. The situation is completely out of control. But if you look at the Washington Post humanizes the story. It makes us see that, oh, when you look at the Washington Post, you feel sorry for the people. You say, oh, a lot of people are suffering. You know, these people are facing a lot of hardship and this and that, all right? It makes you feel sorry for the people. But when you look at the Fox News, it makes you feel scared. Like in any moment from now, if you're not careful, all these migrants that are coming in, they will start chasing us from our houses. Am I making sense?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, ma.
So
Yes,
you
ma.
can see how someone can tell the same story and make it look very different. That's what we're trying to talk about. That's recognizing media bias. That's why it's very important to know who is telling the story and what the person stands to gain from the story that the person is telling. Is that understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Yes, my wonderful.
Okay, let's just quickly do one final. Ooh, I've taken so much of your time. So let's apply some media critical skills now. We're looking at the picture, and has it changed? Why can't we see the picture clearly? Can you see it clearly now? Okay, so you're looking at this picture, and I want you to quickly, just by looking at the picture, and you need to apply some media critical literacy skills now. I want you to answer the question, who made the poster? How does it attract or hold your attention? How could it be understood differently? Is there any other meaning that someone can get from apart from the obvious meaning? What is present and what is missing? Why was it created? Why was it shared? Whom does it advantage? Who is to gain from this message? Whom does it advantage and whom does it disadvantage? Are we good?
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah.
All right. So let's get in your answers. We are about how many? We're 8 now. I think a few people left the chat. So can we get our answers?
Okay, ma, concerning who made it, it will be an organization in or a community in the fight for the spread of COVID.
Adobe, are you critically looking at it? Who made it? We need a source. We will not want, we talked about authenticating a primary source. So if you say it in a community, we don't know what you're talking about. Who made it by looking at this image?
Now, for me, I think the organization that made it is COVID.
Very good. COVID. That it's there. Who made it? COVID made it. That's the organization that made it. So that's you when we say critically looking at it, you have to be focused, you have to look at it, you have to be sure where is this information coming from before you can authenticate it. All right. So who made it? COVID made it. How does it attract or hold your attention?
Now, the fact that someone is covering his face with a mask makes me want to know what's really going on.
Yes. Any other person? When it says, now there's just not a mask there. Remember, we said that words matter and tone also matters. It says, play your part, help stop the spread. So how does it attract your attention? How does it hold your attention?
Okay, let me give it a try.
Who is that?
Okay.
Okay, number one, it said who made it? You know that cat COVID made it. They say, what does it attract? So number one, the attraction there comes from the nose marks. That was my attraction. So for the attention there is that always you should be on your nose marks in order to stop the spread. And say, how could it be how could it be understood what differently? So the nose marks there is just, as it's seen, there is a preventive measure, something that can be used at all costs to prevent the disease. That means at all costs, you must be with your nose marks wherever you find yourself in order to what? Prevent the spread. Then number four, they say what's present and what's missing. Okay.
You don't have to answer, or some other person can answer, okay. Michael. Yes. So you've said that you didn't answer how it can be understood differently, because basically what it does, someone said the first time, I can't remember who, that it's by wearing the nose mask, it talks about preventing the spread, right? That is the understanding that anybody would get. But how can you understand it differently? You've not, is there, when we say how can you understand it differently, is there like an ulterior motive that someone will understand from this message? That's what we're talking about. Is there a different message outside of COVID? Is there a different, outside of helping to stop the spread, is there a different message that any other person can understand from here? Somebody can say that these people just want to make money. They're just putting nose masks up and down, disturbing people's life, right? So it's a different, yeah, McDonald's, sorry. McDonald, you can go ahead. McDonald, your mic is mute. We can't hear you. McDonald, you have your hands raised. Am I mistaken? All All right, in order not to take
sorry, thank God, please turn off your mic.
in order not to take so much of our time, I'll just move. So why was it created and why was it shared? Obviously, it was created to help solve the virus, the COVID-19 virus, and why was it shared? You can see that with the fact that English is written mass, directed at a group of people, directed at lower income earners, the people who are not super educated, and that's why it was created. It was created to give awareness to people in more local areas. Whom does advantage? Advantages everyone for public health awareness, so it advantages everyone. And who does it disadvantage? Disadvantage only COVID. People believe that those are people who against it. Before we round off completely, I'll take any final thoughts that we have. And please let me mention again. I don't know if I can share the survey.
I think we've lost our lecturer. I don't know. I wasn't hearing her anymore. I don't know what's wrong.
Same here.
You weren't hearing her, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think
I heard, but I did not hear well.
Hello, Adobe. Have you shared the survey form?
Yes, ma, I have. I've shared
Okay.
the survey form.
All right, thank you so much. Because my network is being so shitty, I wanted to get your final views on. On what we've learned so far, but there's a space for you to put any final thoughts on the form. Please help me to fill that form. Whenever I give a lecture, I always like people to fill a survey form. It helps me get better in what I do.
Recording in progress. Recording in progress. Recording in progress.
Hey, network call.
It helps me get better in what I do. So I would really like for you to help me fill the survey, and hopefully I'll get to see you guys some other time. If you want to say something else, please feel free to say it at this time.
Okay, I want to say something.
Yes.
I don't know if you explained when you were talking about critical media literacy skill. Please, can you throw more light on gauging tone and language? I didn't get that because of the network.
Gauging tone,
Yes.
tone and language. So
yes,
I talked about, so that was where I explained the media bias. I talked about the language that the media can use. And if you look at the example I showed you between the example I showed you, the last one that talks about Fox News and what's it called? Fox News and the Washington Post. You can see how the language was used there. And we agreed that one language can make you feel very scared, and the other language can make you empathetic, right? Can make you feel empathy, like, oh, these people are really suffering, while the other one will make you feel like these people want to come and take my house from me. So that's gauging language, trying to know the language that is being used. Why is this language used? Is it because of the media house? Is it that the situation is that scary? Why is the language put like this? Do you understand? Who is that? Thank God who asked the question?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
All right. Any other final words? Any final words? Any final words?
Yes, ma. I want to say, very, very interesting lecture. The network actually played its part in making it glitchy, boy. It was incredible. We learned a lot. Everybody learned a lot today. I know that you all learned a lot. And I want to say thank you for your time. And thank you for actually lecturing us. It was very amazing. It was amazing.
Thank you so much, Olisa. Thank you. All right. Is that okay? So if we don't have anything to say, it is at this point that I will say thank you so much for having me. It was a great time having this conversation with you. I really enjoyed your inputs. Thank you for staying the extra 30 minutes to, even though the class was supposed to be for an hour, I took an extra 30 minutes of your time. I'm sorry, the network didn't even allow us to enjoy our time very well. Okay, so I'll be waiting to see your survey reports. I'll be looking at my mail just to see what your survey says. It will help me to get better. So thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Adobe. Thank you. I expect the video, Adobe. Please send me.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, Ma, I wanted to ask you concerning the Port Harcourt Book Club that you curated. I wanted to know if it's a physical gathering or a virtual gathering.
Oh, it's a physical gathering of people. So it's basically people who read, and then we come at the end of the month to discuss the books that we read and all of that. So yeah, that's what we do.
Okay, Ma. I'll send you a message. I'm quite interested in joining the book club. So I'll send you a message as regards that.
All right, that's fantastic. Okay.
Yes, Ma. Another thing, we would want to have your Twitter handle. I almost forgot your social media handle, Instagram. Twitter.
Okay. So my Twitter handle is @Awoli at AWOLI. I don't know what is happening. I hardly ever say anything on Twitter. Like I've gone into a hiatus. I don't say anything. I just basically, I'm like a spy on Twitter. I come and read, and run away. And then my Facebook is my name, which is Awolanye Banigo. It's AWOLANYEBANIGO. That's my Facebook. My Instagram is actually my name and surname. And what else? What else again? My LinkedIn, if there is, where everybody does amebo and hypes themselves. My LinkedIn is my name and surname too. Any other place? I'm not on TikTok. I think I'm getting older than TikTok. Okay, so yeah. All right. Okay then, take care.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you, Ma.
Yeah, bye. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, class. While our lecturer is leaving us, let us go and fill in that survey form that has been shared in the group. She said it will help her with her with assessing her teaching and all of that. So let us all go fill the form.
I don't have the form.
I shared it on the group.
I shared it here. That's why.
Adobe.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Mr. Sam. I can hear you.
All right, Adobe. Where are we submitting it, please? Because the network makes it difficult for me to hear everything clear, please. Please.